Guys, I have a pimple right in the center of my forehead, and I'm not happy about it. Yeah, that's right. I am 32 years old, and apparently I still wake up and I have a pimple on my face. So, what are you going to do about that? And we are back. So, today we are back with another video. This is going to be something a little bit different. This is actually going to be another side of myself that I don't think I've talked about on YouTube that much, and that is wrestling. Now, I'm not like a huge fan of wrestling these days, but if you talk to me about 15 years ago, especially 20 years ago, I was a huge wrestling fan. Like, I used to know all about the wrestlers, you know, Edge, the Hardy Boys, the Dudley Boys, The Rock, you know, all the good ones, all the people that you think are like super famous now. I was watching them, in their primes. The Undertaker is part of the reason I love tattoos so much to this day. So, you know, I just wanted to bring that, side of myself onto YouTube, maybe catch up on a little, see what's going on with the wrestling these days. And I saw this video by a creator called Tap Out Corner. Now, I haven't checked out one of his videos before, but I'm going to say off rip, he's an amazing creator. So we're going to go ahead and check him out. Guys, remember to go to his video, like, comment, and subscribe to his channel. But before you do that, make sure you remember to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Because if you don't, YouTube will come through that door and they will Tap Out Corner, top 20 worst WWE finishers of all time.
These are the top 20 worst WWE finishers of all time. Starting at number 20, John Morrison, Starship Pain. Alright, let me be clear. The Starship Pain looks absolutely amazing. The fact that John Morrison's
wait.
able to do this is awesome.
Why is this in the top worst 20? This is the worst 20 already? I hate to disagree so quickly, but geez, bro, like.
But the impact is where this finisher really lacks. So often, it looked like Jomo just barely hit his opponent. Even when the move did connect properly, it lacked the serious impact a finisher should.
I don't know, man. That looks like a pretty good finisher to me. It may not be the most like, oh, this is the super most impactful, but Rey Mysterio's right there. This dude does the 619. He just kicks you in the face. I feel like this is more an impactful move than the 619.
Should have. Again, Starship Pain.
Am I about to be canceled for that statement? But the 619 is not as impressive. I mean, it's an impressive move to do, but it doesn't look as cool, in my opinion.
It's a thing of beauty, but it's a prime example of a finisher that focuses on style rather than substance. Number 19, the Ultimate Warrior, Warrior Splash. Now, WWE and wrestling in general were different in the 1980s. Even still, that's not a good enough defense for why one of the biggest stars had such a weak-looking finisher. The Ultimate Warrior's Warrior Splash just felt really underwhelming.
Really? You put this ahead? Well, I guess this is the worst. But how many things are going to be worse than this? This is trash. This dude just literally just jumps on your back and does like a splash on your back. That's not cool.
Since Warrior's opponent was lying on the mat, they couldn't really.
Bro, that is lame as crap. That should be number one. If there are 18 other things worse than this, I will be surprised.
Sell it. On top of that, Warrior's hands and or knees would often hit the mat first, minimizing the impact. If the splash had been performed from the middle or top rope, it would have looked a lot better. As it is though, the Warrior Splash was a real flop. Number 18.
Why was the opponent always backwards?
John Cena, STF. Some people say Cena's attitude adjustment isn't a good finisher. I don't agree, especially when his submission finisher is garbage. The move itself is actually great, but the way John Cena specifically does it is terrible. The majority of the time, it looks like the opponent is in more pain due to Cena's arms pushing against the side of their head than Cena choking them out. It's unfortunate too, because there are times where Cena would perform the STF really well. I'm not sure if John Cena loosened his hold to make it safe or what, but the STF should have GTFA. Number 17.
I still don't put that one as bad as the Ultimate Warriors. That one was just horrible. That Ultimate Warrior one, that one should be number one. Chris Benoit, I'm going to say this off rip. I'm not a fan of Chris Benoit, mostly because of what he did to his family. Now, if you're not aware of what he did to his family, look it up. This guy was a monster before he died, and nothing else about. Oh, he was such a good wrestler, but think about all the good things he did in wrestling. Like, nah, he was okay. He was good. He wasn't even like he was no Kurt Angle. I'll say that. No Kurt Angle. He was no Triple H. He was no Shawn Michaels. He was no Undertaker. He was no Eddie Guerrero. Rest in peace to Eddie Guerrero. Chris Benoit was nothing close to Eddie Guerrero.
Chris Benoit, diving headbutt. Not only is Chris Benoit controversial, but so is his finisher, the diving headbutt. The move can have some serious health risks if it's botched. However, on top of all that, the move just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like Starship Pain, the diving headbutt looks spectacular, but why would you hit your opponent with your head? One, that only dishes out a limited amount of damage, and second, are you going to hurt yourself as much, if not more, than your opponent?
Yeah, this is probably I don't want to say that, but guys, these doing dumb stuff like this has serious repercussions. CTE is real, and they don't know if you have CTE or not until after you die, when they take a look at your brain scans and stuff. So, you know, a little bit of a cause here. I don't know. I'm not gonna be. I'm no doctor. I'm not gonna go out and say this is still not an excuse for any of the things he did. But also, this move is dumb. I always questioned, like, okay, how do you even fake this move? Because realistically, your head still has to hit something, or else it's really gonna not look real. Like, if he just like puts his hands down like the second before, people would notice it a lot more. And then also, if he's not actually making contact, it's really not going to go over. So it's like you're going to hurt yourself in the move every time. You're more likely to get knocked out as well. Like, all his matches should have ended with both of them just knocked out unconscious.
The diving headbutt just never made sense, and yet it's still being used to this day. What? Number 16, MVP, Playmaker.
People still doing that shit?
Come on, MVP is a cool wrestler, but his finisher was kind of dorky. Not only did it look silly, but it didn't look like it really hurt MVP's opponent either. Sometimes it actually looked like MVP hurt his knee more than the person taking the move. Now, Randy Orton used the same move as his finisher early in his career, but at least he quickly ditched it. MVP, on the other hand, has continued to use the Playmaker for his entire WWE career. Number 15.
It's not the worst move. It is one of those, like, it's flashier than it is useful, and it doesn't look very useful at all. Honestly, if you're a wrestler, if you're his opponent, it's probably a really cool move because you're not actually going to get hurt, and the risk of you getting hurt is super low. So, like, I wouldn't say again, none of these are worse than the Ultimate Warrior's move. I'm going right now and saying Ultimate Warrior's move is going to be the number one worst move in my opinion. If anyone else out there sees a different move that they feel is worse, comment it down. Throw it in the comments. I want to see what you guys think is the number one worst.
Toxic Attraction, Toxic Shock. Moving on to tag team finishers, Gigi Dolan and JC James' Toxic Shock was shockingly bad. Similar to John Cena's STF, the Toxic Shock isn't inherently a bad move. It's Dolan and James' execution that wasn't good. More often than not, Gigi or JC would miss their kick or just not make a solid connection.
Okay, yeah,
causing the move.
Oh yeah, that was bad. It didn't even make contact.
More often than not, Gigi or JC
would
miss their.
Wham. That is not in her face right there. That is a foot directly at her face, in front of her face. And they need to work on this. If they work this out and time this out properly, this could be a sweet move.
Kick or just not make a solid connection, causing the move to look awkward. Again, the idea of the finisher is good, but when you're constantly having trouble executing it properly, it's time to stop using it. Number 14.
And their kicks aren't always going in the same place. That's another thing. Like, with a move like that, I feel like you have to be consistent. So, like, you consistently have to, the person throwing the high kick always has to throw the kick either to the face or to the chest. You can't be switching it out, being like, oh, this time it's going to be to the chest, this time it's going to be to the face. You have to be that person that, like, full on commits to everything you're doing.
The Mountie, two-handed chokeslam. Now the two-handed chokeslam is an awesome finisher. Wrestlers like the Great Khali and Omos have made it work. However, both of those guys were 7 feet or taller. The Mountie, on the other hand, was just over 6 feet. That means his two-handed chokeslam didn't look nearly as impactful. Mountie's opponent was usually running when he hit it too, making the move look awkward as well. It's surprising that the Mountie caught any man with this finishing move.
I like the premise of this move though. Like, it seems like it actually could be a
nearly
good
as
move.
Impactful.
Like that one right there. Look,
on the other hand, was just over 6 feet. That means his two-handed chokeslam didn't look nearly
this first one right
as
here.
Impactful.
That looks okay. That's not terrible.
Mountie's opponent was usually running when he hit it too.
This, both of y'all have to work.
Making the move look awkward as well. It's surprising that the Mountie caught any man with this finishing.
You can't do this with everybody. Only certain people can use that move, like can be the receiver of that move, because that person also has to work. Guys, if you don't know, wrestling is fake. It's scripted. I'll say that. Wrestling is scripted. Both people know what's like the major finishes are, and they just about know when they're about to happen. They usually give each other little signs or signals, a tap on the shoulder, something like that, so you know exactly when the finish is going to come, when the end of the match is going to be. This is bad. Like, it feels like they didn't plan this out.
Move. Number 13, Fantasia, underwear swipe. In 1995, WWE fans were introduced to Fantasia, a magician turned wrestler. As you'd expect, Fantasia had a few tricks up his sleeve.
Whoa, where was I for this guy? 95? I was like, what, like turning 5? Bro, where was I for this guy? This is the GOAT.
He finished off his opponent by pulling their underwear off and then rolling them up for the pin. I gotta be honest, this might be the most creative finishing move ever.
How is this in the worst?
You know, if Fantasia...
This is one of the greatest moves I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a wrestler like this. First of all, full on.
13, Fantasia, underwear swipe. In 1995, WWE fans were introduced to Fantasia.
Bro, that's cool. I mean, I'm pretty sure I know the trick behind that, but like, it is cool to see.
Fantasia, a magician turned wrestler. As you'd expect, Fantasia had a few tricks up his sleeve.
Come on now, that was a GOAT move. You're not beating that. That's unstoppable.
Finished off his opponent by pulling their underwear off and then rolling them up for the pin. I gotta be honest, this...
Clearly, that was magic. I've never seen a move like that in my life. I mean, it does suck that each one of his opponents would have to carry around an extra pair of underwear. That probably wouldn't work out very well in like a main event match, like a championship match. But I gotta say, part of me loves this. I kind of love this guy. Who is he? He's
might be the most creative finishing move ever. You know, if Fantasia debuted in the Attitude Era, they would have had him do this finisher to all the women. Unfortunately.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's true. That's 100% true. They would have had him do this to all the women. They would have had him do this with their bras as well. It would have been insane if this guy was in like the Attitude Era.
We never got to see Fantasia pull this trick on The Undertaker or anything because he disappeared after his debut match. Number 12.
Damn, one and done? This guy's the GOAT. That should have been a championship match. I'm sorry. They should have made that a championship match. He should have been the official WWE champion and then just disappeared.
Alicia Fox, Officer Nasty. Say what you will about Alicia Fox, she spent 17 years as a WWE wrestler. That's even more amazing when you see her finisher. Fox ended matches by doing a somersault leg drop that she called Officer Nasty. It's an impressive athletic move, but it didn't look powerful at all. The main issue was that Alicia's opponent was already on the mat, meaning they couldn't really sell it. Fox thankfully only used Officer Nasty as her finisher for about 2 years before only making it a signature move. Also, what kind of name is Officer Nasty? Number 11.
That's a good signature move, I will say. But then again, like Hulk Hogan was going off the leg drop for years. Like, that's so wacky.
11, Battle Cat, Feline Antics.
Whoa, who is this guy?
If you've never heard of Battle Cat, then you aren't missing much. This feline made his WWE debut in 1990 and only had 3 televised matches before calling it quits. The character was only going to go so far, but Battle Cat's finisher didn't do himself any favors. Cat would run around his opponent, pounce on them, get it, like a cat, and then cover for the pin. That's all there was to it. I guess it was Battle Cat's knees that were supposed to be hitting his opponent, but it never looked that way. Maybe he could have perfected it if he had been around long.
This is bad But I wouldn't say again. This is not worse than the Ultimate Warriors. None of these are worse than the Ultimate Warriors movie.
But I think Feline Antics was dead on arrival. Number 10, Gigi Dolan, Gigi Driver. This video isn't meant to be an attack on Gigi Dolan, but she's had some bad finishers. This one really isn't even a finisher, it's just a fancy looking roll up. I guess Gigi is supposed to be hitting her opponent with such momentum that it causes them to get knocked out, or something, but it doesn't look that way. Mr. Perfect had a similar type of finisher, but he would hoist his opponent into the air and send them crashing onto the mat. Dolan just pushes her opponent down, and that's it.
Yeah, those moves are completely different. But I actually don't mind this one here. It looks like obviously it needs some work. But you do this move quick enough and you go for the pin quick enough, I feel like this move completely goes over. Like this move actually looks pretty sweet. And I'm going to unpause it now because I feel like anybody who's like paying too much attention to what's on the screen, you wrestling fans out there, you guys don't need to see this much, this much right here. It's too much.
Number 9, the Bushwackers, the Battering Ram. Another tag team finisher, and this one is pretty bad. One of the Bushwackers would grab the other in a headlock and then ram them into their opponent. The attack might have been fine as a signature move, but it lacked the explosiveness needed for a finisher. It wasn't even that fun or entertaining to watch, making it underwhelming and easily forgotten.
Okay, this is starting to get to the Ultimate Warrior territory. This is my number 2. This is a dumb move because 3 people have to be involved at minimum with this. These 2 idiots and then the guy who's taking the hit. You actually have to sell this. Like, he's clearly, his head's not even really, like his neck's not even long enough for his head to hit you after being being locked into this other guy's head. This is a dumb move. Now, I still think Ultimate Warrior's move is dumber, but this is a very close second.
Number 8, Naomi, rear view. Some wrestlers use their fists, some use their feet. Naomi, on the other hand, uses her butt. I'll give it this, the rear view is different, but not a good different. The former WWE Women's Tag Team Champion smacked her opponents in the face with her backside and then covered them for the 1-2-3.
Okay, I don't like to say this, like pull out the racism card here, but is this not a little bit like racist here? Like she's the black woman using her butt as the finisher, and not even like a good way, but in like the dumbest way I've ever seen. She's just like going up and butt bouncing her against the opponent's head, and I don't know. Like, I guess part of me wants to say like, oh yeah, but remember Rikishi used to do something like that. But this is completely different than Rikishi's move. Rikishi's move was, 1, I think that was more like a signature versus a finisher. 2, it was more of the embarrassment of it and the fact that he's so big you can't get his butt out of your face type of thing. This one is more just like, oh man, quick bounce up, boom, my butt got you, boom. This seems corny. This is definitely not as bad as the Ultimate Warriors, but this is my number 3.
Smacked her opponents in the face with her backside and then covered them for the 1-2-3. As a fun signature move, the rear view would have worked great, but as a finisher, it's butt ugly. Number 7, Bastian Booger, Trip to the Batcave. This is one of the sickest WWE finishers ever, and I do not mean that in a positive way. Booger would sit on his opponent with his crotch dangerously close to.
Oh my gosh. Bro, this is horrible. What the fuck, bro? No, get out of his opponent's mouth. Like
Yokozuna and Rikishi had finishers where they sat on their opponent, but they landed on their opponent's torso, and it looked like it hurt.
I don't know. Rikishi was a little close. I gotta say, Rikishi was kind of close.
Bastian Booger was so close to his opponent's face that not only did it look perverted, but it also looked like he was doing little to no damage. A disgusting finisher for a disgusting wrestler. Bro. I guess it's a match made in heaven.
Who is this guy? Get him out the ring. This is crazy.
No, wait, that was his Friar Ferguson gimmick. Number 6, Kazarian, double arm DDT. Anyone remember Kazarian? Probably not, because his WWE career only consisted of 2 televised matches, and one of them was a Battle Royal. As such, we only got...
I feel like I remember this guy. Did he have like a pirate gimmick? Was he like the pirate guy? Like, I feel like this is like around the time where like Pirates of the Caribbean was super popular, and they were just trying to get some type of pirate gimmick going.
See his finisher once, but even that was too much. Kazarian would hook his opponent's arms and hit a DDT. It was a lot like Dean Ambrose's Dirty Deeds, but instead, Kazarian would roll through and hold his opponent's arms down to the mat. It just lacked any real excitement and just looked odd. Thankfully, no one has stolen it. Number 5, Everest, the French Connection. If this is the first time you're hearing about Everest, I don't blame you. The team was in WWE for over 2 years, from 2019 to 2021, but never made it to the main roster, and was relegated
That move looked kind of nice.
to NXT and 205 Live. There are probably several reasons for that, but one thing they definitely need to work on was their finisher. Oh my gosh, it was so bad. Everest's finishing move was called the French Connection. Chase Parker and Matt Martel would lift their opponent into the air and have their opponent hit either the top rope or the turnbuckle. Yes, this actually got them the win. This just barely qualifies as an offensive move, and these guys are using it as a finisher? I know Everest did
Wait. Why would they use that? They just did like 5 other things that were way more impressive.
win a ton of matches, but nobody looked at this and said, hey, maybe you guys should change your finisher. Number 4.
No. Let's go back. Let's just go back for a quick second.
Never made it to the main roster.
What is this?
WWE for over 2 years, from 2019 to 2021, but
Why isn't this their finisher?
never made it to the main roster. And
That was the perfect finisher right there. That was cool.
was relegated to NXT and
Look at this. This is a cool move. Make this your finisher.
205 Live. There are probably several reasons for that, but one thing they definitely need to work on was their
Even that would have been a better finisher.
finisher. Oh my gosh. Martel would lift their actually got the finisher? I know Everest didn't win a ton of matches, but nobody looked at this and said, hey, maybe you guys should change your finisher. Number 4, Veto, dress code. This finisher is on another level. A negative one. In 2006, Vito started appearing on SmackDown wearing a dress. This character would never fly today, but it was a different time. Anyways, to play up the cross-dressing character, Vito got a new finisher, the dress code.
So I remember this. This is WWE was a different time back then. You know, they did things that people would look at today and be like, nah. You actually shouldn't do that. You know, you really shouldn't just do that. It's not right. You know, it's only entertaining if you're like 12, you know, and in 2006, I was already 15. So I was like, yo, this is a little wild, you know, this is a little wild. This says, you know, I knew this wasn't going to work out. And yeah, we see how this turned out.
Vito would shove his opponent's head under his dress, lock their arm, and start shaking. Most men would tap out within seconds, but can you blame them? The dress code is honestly so bad, it's almost good. Keyword being almost. Number 3, the Goon, cross-check. The Goon was one of the many bizarre characters that appeared in WWE in the mid-90s. The hockey player didn't win often, but when he did, it was always anticlimactic. The Goon's finisher saw him run to his opponent on the outside and knock them down, similar to a cross-check that real hockey
Wait, did he like have skates on doing that?
players would use. Not only did the finishing move look weak, but the Goon always did it on the outside, meaning he would win by countout. Yeah, that'll do you a lot of good in a championship match. Number 2, Byron Saxton, Saxtonation. You might not remember, but before he was a commentator, Byron Saxton wrestled. He made his WWE debut on NXT back when it was a competition game show. Saxton ended up getting eliminated, and when you see his finisher, you can kind of tell why. Saxtonation involved Byron grabbing his opponent, motioning for a skull-crushing finale, and then psych! No matter how much WWE shook the camera, this finisher did not look good. Dolph Ziggler summed it up the best.
Byron Saxton! Forward and back.
And number
Yeah, that was an interesting finisher. Not my number 2. That's like somewhere in like the top 15 worst ones. It's not that bad. Again, number 1, Ultimate Warrior. Number 2 was whatever those 2 guys were doing with the, you know, the ramming the head into the guy. And number 3 was that butt bounce thing. Those are my top 3.
Number 1, Solomon Crow, Pendulum Splash.
have no
In
clue who this guy
2015, a wrestler named Solomon Crow debuted in NXT. He had an interesting look and appeared to have some potential. Then he hit his finisher.
Look at this! Hooks the leg!
Was that his finisher?
And that's it!
This move was called the Pendulum Splash, and while it is the worst
He missed. He didn't even hit it properly. You didn't even hit the move.
Finisher of all time, at least it's safe to perform. Which finishers, though, are the most dangerous? To find out, watch this video.
All right, guys, that was a great video. Shout outs to Tap Out Corner. Incredible video. Make sure you guys go like, comment, and subscribe to his channel. Yeah, I will say I have a different opinion. Those included some of the top 20 worst, but if you're gonna ask me to redo that list, I'm telling you, Ultimate Warrior is going number one. You already know my top three, but number one is definitely that Ultimate Warrior move. It is so dumb, and the opponent has to be on their, like, laying face, like, you know, face to the ground the whole time to do it. That's even dumber. But yeah, guys, great video. I'm trying not to mess with the pimple on my face, but obviously it's not working out very well. So yes, thank you for anybody watching this far. I appreciate it. And as always, bye.